Hello everyone. Hold on, let me put up my windows. This is a very different setting simply because I wanted to do a video not in my room, so I don't have to set up lights or anything. So this video is going to be all about the books that I recently read. I don't want to do monthly wrap-ups anymore because I'm kind of tired of them. I feel like they're overdone, and every time I post a monthly wrap-up, it's a little bit late and someone always has to comment, "Oh my god, this video is so late," so I got tired of that. So I decided to split up my recent reads videos for 2019 into 10s. So every time I finish 10 books, I will film a books I've read recently video or recent reads or something like that. I want to do it in a different, non-conventional setting every single time. So I drove to my local park, brought some coffee, and I'm going to talk to you about the first 10 books that I read in 2019. Let's just get started with my first 10 books that I read in 2019. Some of these books I will not go into depth because I don't feel the need to. So this is all determined on whether or not I want to talk extensively about a book. We love messy videos. So the first book that I read in 2019 is Shadowshaper by Daniel Jose Older. This is a really fun Afro-Latinx book that I've been recommended extensively on Twitter, and I was like, I might as well read it. I might as well read it on audiobook. It was alright. I wasn't in love with it. I wasn't in love with it as much as other people were. It was just a fun audiobook to read. So Shadowshaper has an Afro-Latina main character, and she finds out that she is a Shadowshaper. So you can contact spirits through art, through murals, through music, all forms of art, and she does it through murals. And it's an urban fantasy set in Brooklyn. It's really fun. There's a lot of Afro-Latinx elements in it, and I had a fun time with it. I wasn't in love with it, but it was a 3 out of 5 stars read for me. The next book that I read is Queen of Air and Darkness, and this was a long-running joke on Instagram because this took me so long to read. I would always update people on my stories being like, oh, I'm gonna finally finish it soon, and people were like, oh yeah, okay, sure, you're finally gonna finish it soon. Like, we believe that. And it took me about a month to read. It was phenomenal. It wasn't my favorite conclusion to a series that Cassandra Clare has done, but it was still phenomenal because you got to see so many shadow hunters from different series come together and finally meet and hang out, and there were so many cute moments, and Emma and Julian are my life, and I just loved it. I am so excited for the last hours because I know that one's going to be so angsty, just like this one was, just like all of Cassandra Clare's novels are. But I am so excited for that, but I'm particularly excited for Kit and Ty's series because that one just looks like it's going to be amazing, and I'm so excited for it. And Cassandra Clare owns my soul. I will buy anything that she makes, and I loved it, and yes, it's definitely one of my favorite series by Cassandra Clare. If you're wondering, I rank it as The Infernal Devices, The Dark Artifices, and then Immortal Instruments last. The next book that I read in this very messy car, hold on, let me see. I read Finding Center by Katherine Locke. This is a sequel to Second Position. It's a new adult series that I highly recommend because everyone always tells me, oh, there's no new adult books to read. False. You're just not looking hard enough. It's a duology. It's centered around these ballerinas. They previously dated when they were younger, and then they had a car crash and their lives were basically falling apart, and then they fall back together, and it is wonderful. It's about ballet. It's about dealing with disabilities. It's about dealing with eating disorders. It's about dealing with the fact that your partner is just as imperfect as you, and you just kind of have to support them and help them along the way and just be there for them. And it's a very beautiful new adult novel. My camera is getting hot in the sun, but I mean, some people take their cameras to deserts, so I'm sure Thomas Shelby will be fine. The next book, ooh, exciting. Here we go. The next book I read is When We Left Cuba. I have a reading vlog all about it, and I will link that down below because you should watch it because I spent a lot of time on it. And I read this book in like 3 days. It was amazing. This is a sequel to Next Year in Havana. Next Year in Havana is my favorite book ever. This follows Beatrice, who is the main character from Next Year in Havana's sister. And this is set in America after they immigrate to America, and she is contacted by the CIA in order to assassinate Fidel Castro. But while she is on that mission and she's getting into the world of espionage and she's learning how to become a spy and she's learning how to use her feminine ways to get her way. She's also falling in love, in a forbidden love, with a politician. And once I read that and it happened in the book, I was like, I'm here for it. It was amazing and I loved it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. Again, I have a whole reading vlog about it. If you're very curious about the book and you're curious about Next Year in Havana as well, I will link both reading vlogs down below. I only do reading vlogs around Chanel Cleeton's books. It's fine, it's fine. According to the toasty meter, we're getting very toasty in this car, so I'm going to speed this up. The next book I read was an audiobook. It is The Storm Runner by J.C. Cervantes, and this is a really cool middle grade Mayan mythology book, which is a part of Rick Riordan Presents. Rick Riordan Presents is a diverse publication, a part of Disney Hyperion, I believe, or Disney Book Group, and this is a novel centered all around Mayan mythology and just a kid finding out that his dad is a Mayan god and he is chosen to help save the world. I highly recommend Rick Riordan Presents because it's so diverse. It has a lot of diverse mythology that you wouldn't normally see in the mainstream media, and you get to learn more about it. You get to learn about different cultures, and it's also mostly middle grade, so if you're looking for middle grade books to read, they're amazing. They're a really fun time, and the audiobooks are also just always a really fun time because the characters are so sassy and sarcastic, and it really translates well into an audiobook. And I'm going to open a window because I'm so toasty. The sun is just like beating down on me right here, and it's just, oh. So if you hear chirping, if you hear cars, if you hear anything else, please ignore it. We're in a car right now. We're out and about. You're gonna hear natural sound, okay? The car window is open. There's no going back. The next book I read was Again But Better by Christine Riccio, and I read this, I believe, in a couple of days. A lot of these books I read in one sitting or in a couple of days because they were just all so fun. I did not rate this one because I am so close to the booktube community and to Christine herself. I wouldn't say like we're best friends, but like I know her, and I don't really like rating friends' books because I have my own bias and I feel like that translates into the rating itself. So I'm not going to rate it. I'm just going to say it was adorable. It was such a quick read. It's a great weekend read, a great beach read. I feel like you could read that on the beach and you could just have a really fun time with it. But if you do not know what it's about, it is about a quirky college student who studies abroad in England and puts herself out there in the world. She's very anxious, she's very awkward, and she decides to use this time as she studies abroad to just put herself out there and just try new things. It was adorable. And I had a really fun time with it. There were like some issues with it, but like it's a debut novel and I feel like Christine can grow so much with her writing. She already had a really good structure with this, and I feel like I would definitely buy something else that she would write because I'm excited to see how she grows as a writer, because I really enjoy seeing debut authors just like grow with their craft and like find their voice, and I think that she definitely can. And it was just a fun story. If you're looking for something similar to Anne and the French Kiss, this gives me Anne and the French Kiss vibes, except it's in England, but you also go to Paris, you also go to Rome. This book is a lot of traveling and it's very fun, and it also has some magical elements in it as well. I actually forgot to mention a couple of other books because I was looking at my Twitter when I should have been looking at my Goodreads. So I'm going to backtrack. In the beginning of January, I read The Proposal by Jasmine Guillory, and I did not finish this book, but because I read majority of it, I think I read 80% of it, I'm going to count it as a read because I did waste a lot of time reading it. But I did not finish this book because it just didn't mesh well with me. This is a story about a woman who goes to a baseball game, and her boyfriend of 3 months proposes to her, and she's like, what are you doing? We never spoke about proposals. We never spoke about this before. I don't understand why you're proposing to me in public. And the situation gets bad from there, so this guy in the crowd decides to help save her. He's like, oh my god, we're best friends. Let's like hang out. I haven't seen you in forever. Let me take you away from this very crappy situation. And he's a doctor, and they just like fall in love over time, but I did not like it because I did not like the writing style. There just wasn't a lot of description. The dialogue was kind of awkward, and I just wasn't really a fan. As someone who loves romance and someone who loves contemporary novels, I know what's a good contemporary novel, and for me, this wasn't it, so I did not finish that book. This is the most awkward thing ever because so many people are passing by and they're just like staring at me and they're like, what is she doing? So the next book that I read before Again But Better was Fake Blood by Whitney Gardner, and I follow her on Twitter. She's adorable. She has such a great artistic style, and it's a middle grade graphic novel. It is about a boy who has a crush on this girl, but she's obsessed with vampires, and he's like, oh my god, the only way I can impress her is if I pretend to become a vampire. So that's what he does, and he pretends to become a vampire, and it's just adorable. It's weird. I love it. It's like a paranormal middle grade graphic novel, and I read it on Libby, which is my favorite app ever. If you're looking for a middle grade graphic novel, this is so funny. It's just so quirky, and I had a lot of fun with it. The 10th book I read in 2019 is Dragonhearts by Amanda Lovelace, Nikita Gill, and Trista Mater, and I had a lot of fun with this because I love all these poets so much, and they are also talented, and them coming out with this poetry collection is like the ultimate collab that I needed in life. And if you're looking for a good modern poetry novel that's all about friendships and found families, I would highly recommend this one. I read this in one sitting, as I always do with modern poetry. Some people who read like one poem a day, put down the book, another poem a day, put down the book. I can't do that. I have no self-control, so I read this all in a day, and I am so proud of all of them because I am such a big fan of all their work, and they just like really showed off their talents in this book. So those are the first 10 books that I read in 2019. So let me know if you read any of these books, if you're excited for any of these books. I've been really using my library more often, and I'm really happy with that because that's one of my bookish resolutions, and I love supporting my library. And ever since I discovered Libby, which is an online library database for ebooks and audiobooks, I've been using it like crazy, and I've just been reading so many books through there. So that's why I only have 4 physical books to show you, but the other ones are still amazing, and I had a lot of fun with these books, and I feel like they really started off 2019 right. Thank you so much for watching. Tell me if you like this unconventional setting or if you hate it. I don't know how this is gonna work. I don't know if this is gonna sound good because the mic is very far from me right now, but I'm still trying to talk loud to let you know that you could hear me. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. I'm toasting on my left side, and I am a little bit hot, and a lot of people are watching me, but it's totally fine. And I will see you in another video, and I will update you more on the books I've been reading in 2019 as the year goes on. So, bye!